So I'll just show you the, just showing it to the camera as well first. A piece that I made, it's collaged jelly print. I'll pass it round and be having a little look at it. So a lot of that was done on tissue paper, and in fact there is some strength tissue paper. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've been looking at that.
Yes.
And I was wondering where to order some, but
Well, I thought if we get a class pack,
you can share
through
it.
Sally, and we'll share it, we'll split the cost, share it, because you can print on it, and then when you glue it down, the paper disappears, and you just end up with the colour.
Yeah.
As the glue makes the paper translucent. Right, that's what we're going to end up with at the end of this session. Something like that. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to use both my jelly press, I call them, it's a patented product, GELLI press or jelly plates, and it's this stuff which is made from a petrochemical product. It's absolutely, it's gorgeous to squidge and feel. It's the nicest stuff. And it's bouncy and spongy. There you go, I'm going to pass that around as well and have a feel. Got a piece of acetate underneath it.
Silicone, is it?
It's not, it's very similar to silicone. And so, in fact, what I've got is, I bought some silicone sheet. The sort that you might use in the kitchen to protect a surface when you're crafting. And it's a substitute, and it will produce a print, but it's not quite the same as that. It's not as thick, it's not as spongy, and I'm going to use it on top of a couple of pieces of card to make it a little bit, make the surface a little bit softer. Whoops. And it's got a matte side and a shiny side. Can you see? Shiny side, matte side. So I've tested both sides. And that's the smooth or shiny side. And that's the, wait a minute, other way around. That's the matte side. That's the matte or rough side. And that's the shiny side. I actually like the effect on the shiny side. You can see the acrylic paint sort of, it crawls in a way, which is really quite nice. And then I did that on the, what side did I do that on? It just says silicone sheet. So let's do this one first. And I'll keep it very, very simple this week. So basically I'm going to put acrylic paint on there, take a piece of paper and take the acrylic paint off. Why, you might say? Why don't I just put acrylic paint on the paper? Well, you can get different effects when you pull a print to when you apply paint directly to a piece of paper.
Video last night.
Did you? There are some really good videos. Yeah.
She did 3 of the same base.
Yes.
For different shades of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so she would put some. Oops. She'd put some colour on.
Yeah.
Take a print and then put some more colour on.
No.
Oh, so right. So she put some colour on, took a print, and then took another, and then another.
When she'd done that, she used the same base.
Yes.
To do another print.
Yes.
And then a third one, which was obviously getting lighter.
Getting less and less each time. And right. So sometimes it depends on how long you leave the paper on. Sometimes it pulls all the paint off in one go. Sometimes it leaves some behind. So did you see how little I put on there? I'm keeping the sheet here so that the camera can see it.
That one's a lot of paint.
There's quite a lot on there.
That's really thick.
Really thick, that one. So you can see it almost gives almost like an Artexy effect, doesn't it? So you can see on that, you can see the tracks of the roller. If you can't see very well, stand up. But I'm I'm lightening my touch, so I'm only just holding the roller. I'm doing as light a touch as possible to try and smooth out the tracks of the roller. Now, the thing I like to do, and I'm going to ask you to do, is to use a damp cloth or a pile of damp tissue to keep your roller damp at all times at least, if not clean it off at all times. I don't want to build up of acrylic paint on the roller because...
Would you not to roll it onto some spare paper?
You can, people roll it onto spare paper as well. So you can roll it out onto spare paper, that cleans it off quite well. In fact, that's finished it off, what we're going to do now. So, first piece of clean paper, pop it down on the paint. Give it a good massage. Now, course you can do your patterned prints just on white paper, but I often think that if you get a layer of colour on first, you get more interesting combinations. Pull it off.
Two different base colours on, couldn't
You could put two different base colours on. There we go. So you can actually see, I think those are the marks of my hand. Look, there are my fingers in fact there. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing you get with the silicone sheet. Let's put another colour on. This is what you were saying, Jean. Layer it up with different colours. Maybe put a tiny little bit more on this time. So when I'm rolling, I'm not just going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, because you see what happens? It sort of stays heavy in the same place all the time. So keep picking the roller up and going in different directions. So you see how I pick the roller up each time. And then you get a really nice, smooth, even layer. And I think possibly this next layer of paint will be better than the first. In a way, the piece of silicone sheet maybe sort of needed priming to get it to work properly. Roll on the damp, roll on the dry, and this is going to build up to an interesting background too, this piece of scrap paper. Let's take another pull off that. Oh, so I'm doing the same thing, putting my fingers down there. Or maybe I should do that more. Actually, get some fingerprints appearing in this one. There we are. So this was the matte side, and if I was doing it on the shiny side, I'd get more of that interesting texture. There we are. That's built up to quite a nice layer. You get grunge with, you know what I mean by grunge? It's a bit messy looking. Okay. So let's do a stencil on top of that one, and then I'll do the same thing on the jelly plate. So if I'm going to cut a stencil, a nice simple stencil. How you do this is entirely up to you. I actually copied this directly off a YouTube video, which I should obviously link to in the comments below, because it was a really, really good little demonstration, just a short demonstration, and I really liked it. So she made a concertina and then used her scissors just to chop holes in the concertina. And she actually did another fold, so it turned out like small folds like this one. Okay, I'm just going to do that many. And Mary's going to pass me a pair of scissors from behind her. Thank you. Thanks, love. So let's just cut some shapes out of this. Paper stencils, of course, are the cheapest and easiest things to make. And of course, I've got a cutting machine at home and I have made some stencils, but it means me sitting at the computer, which is not my favourite place to sit. So I don't use it as much as I should. Okay, I'm saving all these little bits of paper because I might use those as stencils as well. Let's open that out. And there's some interesting shaped holes. So what's going to happen? Oh, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this one on the jelly plate itself. That'll save a bit of time. So here's the jelly plate. It doesn't have to be on cardboard, this, but just cardboard happens to be there. In fact, I'm going to put it on the white piece. Okay, so now this jelly plate's a little bit messy because it's been used. It's actually got the imprint of some newspaper on it, which is interesting. Obviously it's been that way down on some newspaper, but that's not actually pulling off onto the prints. So a nice contrast. And in fact, what I'm going to do is change my mind. Can I see that through there? Right. I'm going to put a piece of paper underneath so I can see the size of the A4 piece of paper that I'm going to be printing on, so I know where to spread the ink. I keep calling it ink, it's paint, isn't it? Right, so there's the A4 piece of paper. I'm going to print on that one, so it's the same size. So I know how far to spread that paint. Oh, now, immediately, the difference, it almost feels as if the plate has got hold of the roller. It sort of pulls it in. Very satisfying. So again, I'm only rolling it very, very lightly. So that, so I don't get, so if I do that, it just slides along the surface. It's not actually rolling at all. It's, look, it's staying still. Yeah, so you'll get the feel of that. Just experiment and play with yours. There's a little bit of a dip there. Just fill that in. Got a bit of a little bit of an indentation in the jelly plate. It's probably been resting on something or had something on top of it.
Give texture.
It'll just give extra grunge, won't it? Right. Clean it all yes. Stencil. So you didn't do any stenciling, Sally, when you did your play?
Those were just my gondolas painted on the top.
Made marks into it.
I think I did. I can't remember how I did those.
Stencil.
I did try pressing it. Well, I did do a bit more.
Green on top of the stencil. So the green paper on top of the stencil, pressing it down, and then I can massage it into the ink, and I can see. You can start to see where the holes in the stencil are. So I've got a nice green background, stenciling pink on, and that's not the end of it. I'm going to have a little peek at this end where you can't see. Oh, it's nice. Oh, it's nice. Oh, here you go. Now you can see. There we are. Nice ooh noises. So now I can take the stencil off carefully. And I might have something interesting left behind. So this is what would be what you were talking about as the ghost print, Jean. What's left behind might print. It might not print very much like this, but something that you can do if you want to do ghost prints is let that dry and then roll it up with another colour and pull that off. Because when you put another colour on top of the acrylic paint, it re-loosens it when it's on the gel plate. Let's just see if it comes off. How's your head feeling, Mary?
The head?
Yeah, is the top of it coming loose at all yet? No, nobody's head's blown the tops off yet. Obviously not exciting enough. You're all very quiet. Is it because you're nervous of having your voices videoed? Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Print on top of that, can't you?
And you could print on top of that. Yes, they're all potential backgrounds. So I could now print this stencil on top of that stencil and get another effect. Or I could print that pink one the other way around, which is how I did that one. So I promised you a version of that, didn't I? Which is what I should do. I'm going to go back in with the yellow. Which was the roller? That was the roller that didn't. This is the roller that squeaks. Oh, well, that's entertaining, isn't it? So how many people have got actual gel plates? Doreen's got one, Margaret's got one, Sally's got one. Oh, you're going to have to make do with silicone unless anybody's kind enough to lend you their gel plate for a go. It would be good, actually, wouldn't it? Yeah. Somebody can borrow mine.
Somebody can borrow mine.
Right. So we'll take it in turns with what we've got, and then you've had a chance to decide if you want to get a gel plate. This is looking really nice, actually, because I can see the ghost of the underneath colour there as well. There's my roll-off paper. Some nice colours developing on the roll-off paper. So stencil back, but the other way around. Let's go crossways. Oh, put it the other way up, didn't I? Oh well, never mind. Let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Some of the pink might still be wet. Anyway. print back on, good massage. So really this is the very simplest thing that you can do to get quite exciting results. And next week and the week after I'll be introducing more advanced techniques. Unless of course you want to, you may have learned quite a lot already from the videos you've watched. You might want to start playing with texture and painting into it as well. Look at this! That's amazing, isn't it? Isn't that really nice?
Yeah, African print.
It does look quite African. I think this one looks very 1970s. That does look, it's the shape of, these sort of almost imply Zulu shields, don't they? Yes. And the colour combinations that you get are absolutely stunning when you get them overlaying each other, because each colour sort of glazes over the previous colours. And of course, look what I've got. I've also got a ghost. I've got a ghost here that is going to be worth taking a print. Oh, do you know what I'll do? I shall let this dry on the plate this time while you, right, so if you go and play, I'll let that dry and then I can show you how you can pull from dry paint on the plate. Whew, happy days. Right, so let's see how this works out. I've just got some white System 3, De La Rowney. Doesn't really matter what make it is. I think what we're finding is that the paint out of the tubes is quite difficult to work with, isn't it? Those are using tube paint. So the paint out of the bottles, I think, is what I would recommend for using for jelly.
Is that meant to be a different consistency?
Is it meant to be?
A different consistency?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. De La Rowney do heavy body, and which is like that thick stuff that comes out of a tube. Then there's that System 3.
I've got System 3 in a tube, and I think
Yeah.
it's not too bad.
Yes, yes. It's softer, isn't it? And then this stuff out of bottles, this crafting acrylic, I think is so cheap. I think a couple of quid each, aren't they, those? And it works. It works really well. Like a wine glass. Oh, look, I seem to have done a wine glass.
Like you thinking?
Yeah. Right, so look, let's just roll this out. A thin layer.
Those big ones.
So you put hardly any paint.
There's hardly any on there. Can you see the?
Yeah, you can see it.
See it underneath. Now, what people do, I'll let you into a secret. I've not done this before. This is the first time I've done this. I've seen so many videos of it. Thought, wow, that's really weird how that works. Because normally when acrylic paint is on something, it won't wash off, will it? But apparently more acrylic paint makes it come off. Clean off the roller. Do it properly afterwards. Now what they do is they put their paper on and then they let it dry. They put it on, smooth it down and let it dry on the plate. And then either peel the paper off the plate or turn it over and peel the plate off the paper. So you do this, and it's just like watching paint dry. And some people even put a pile of books on top to make sure it's really in contact with the plate. Other people say that's not necessary, so I'm just going to keep massaging it until I feel that it's dry. A really good tip that I saw on one video was that if it feels cool, it's damp. As soon as it stops feeling as cool, it's probably dried. And some people actually blow dry it as well. So it feels really weird just leaving it on there now. Do you want to go and make a brew? Do you want to make a brew? Yeah. We'll come back and then we'll see what's happened. Right, so it's had 5 minutes to dry. I'm going to try both ways. I'm going to try pulling the paper off, and I'm going to try pulling the plate off the paper. So if let's go from this end. Try and pull the paper off the plate. Well, that's working quite well. It's the way people clean off their plates afterwards sometimes. Oh, look, he's actually found the newsprint.
Does it come off?
Wow, yes. Look, it's coming off. So that's pulling the paper off the plate. That's easy enough. I've found a lot of grunge underneath. Okay. Or the other thing that I've seen done is you turn the whole thing over, you take your acetate off the back. Sally, you were asking whether you have to keep the acetate on or not, but this is a stage where you want to take the acetate off the back and then pull. Is that where I started pulling? No. Did I start pulling it? Started pulling there, didn't I? So let's pull the plate off the paper. Oh, that is much easier. And you don't feel like you might be going to tear the paper. But that's really, really easy, lovely. Ooh, look at all that was on there. Who'd have thought? And a bit of image transfer. This is sort of two more quite intriguing things to do. One is printing or adding things to the paint on the plate, to like leaves and bits of string and materials that will make patterns in the paint. And image transfer as well is another technique so that's for the week after next, is where you can use magazine pictures, press them into the paint. When you pull them off, the paint comes off where the paper is absorbent, but it's left behind where the ink is on the magazine picture. So you get...
It's magic.
It's
black magic.
Yes! And then that dries, and then you ink it up. You put paint on it, and put your paper down and pull it off, and you get the image transfer, which is a bit of what's happened here, I think. But that's actually just ink off the newspaper that's appeared on that. That's quite pretty, just by itself. Hey, okay, exciting times. So it's really the very simplest technique that you can use for using the jelly plate or the silicone sheet. There are a lot more complicated ways of making prints, but we'll come to those next week. So this pile here are the ones that I've done on the jelly plate. And the results just tend to be a little bit more even, I suppose. So that's there's 2 or 3 layers of colour. There's three layer print. That's this stencil, used that way round and then that way round. So it's got a base colour and then 2 subsequent layers to create the stencil effect. And then that's another print off the same application of paint. So it's what was left behind after I printed that. And then this is the one that I did this morning, which was this stencil, the new stencil that I cut this morning. I'm really quite excited by that one. I like that one. And that was a print taken off what was left behind after I printed the pink colour on this one. Can anybody see the wine glasses? Yes. Somebody this morning said, "You've made some wine glasses." Quite accidental. And a lot of the things that happen with this kind of printing, it's also called monoprinting, because each print, there's only one of it. Mono means one, so one print of it. It's not a repeat print making process. So what I'm going to do is to show you on the silicone sheet first. All we're going to do is I just selected some colours that I like, so I thought they'd be fun together. Squeeze some out. Over on rollers. I'm getting a little bit messy because as soon as the acrylic paint starts to dry, it's really hard to get it off the roller. So what I would ask you to do is that after you've rolled your paint out, I'm going to spread it out. This is the squeaky roller as well, just to make things more fun. It's quite hard with the silicone sheet to get an even application, but once you've started to spread it out, if you then actually reduce the pressure, so if you increase the pressure, it just skids across and it doesn't turn at all. So you want to make sure you've got very little pressure on and decrease the pressure to try and make it spread more. You see how I've decreased the pressure? It's spreading more evenly. But you will always get those tracks, off the roller, and that just is going to become part of the character of your print. So when you've got it spread out, then go over the wet rag to keep your roller clean, and have a piece of paper to dry it off on as well. See how there's more colour coming off there? So that just keeps it, stops it getting too clogged up with acrylic paint. So we've got paint on a surface. I keep calling it ink as well, so if I talk about ink, it's the same thing. Ink, paint, in this case. I tend to call it ink when I'm printing with it. So you put your paper on top of the paint or ink, give it a good smoothing round. Try and use the flat part of your hand. Right? If you use your fingers, you get, I'll show you, you get, oh, well, that didn't really happen on that one, but you can get lines in it. This one's working really quite nicely. But if you use the flat part of your hand, you're more likely not to get unwanted lines in it.
Ooh,
Ooh,
I like that.
just lovely, isn't it?
beautiful.
There we go.
Quite bold.
Yeah. So that's left a little bit behind, but that you can clean off if you're worried, or you can just add more colour.
Or you could,
Or you could take another print. Take another print off it, take a ghost print. Yes.
Looks like fabric.
Yeah, that's taken a really nice ghost print. And what you start getting is the colour underneath shows through subsequent layers. And the more layers you build up, the better it starts getting. So let's put another colour on there. Right, I also pulled the ghost print off that one now. Onto the piece of paper I'm just rolling the roller on. I mean, the piece of paper you're rolling the roller on can end up looking really beautiful as well, and to be something that you can use in collage. So I'll roll that out. And you see I think this yellow is slightly more opaque and slightly thicker as well, so it's rolling out in a different way. This morning people were using paint out of tubes with really thick acrylic paint, and to be honest they were struggling with it. I think the paint out of bottles is better. But even that, it varies quite a lot. Now you see, I am trying to spread it evenly, but not very successfully. So I just have to accept that with the silicone sheet, it is going to be streaky. So I can put this back, take another impression off that. This is good when you get responses. I want to just wipe that off. It really sticks if it's left to dry. So I just keep that cleaned off for the next person that uses it. So there are plenty of damp cloths available. Right, so I'm going to put my white paper underneath this because you see I can see through it. It means that the prints I'm taking out, I know I only need to ink up that area so I can see the extent of the borders. Let's go back in with yellow. Doesn't matter what order you do it in. Some people start with light colours and end up with dark colours, but I think you can go either way. So I just want to get... Now, see, you can see the difference already, can't you, with the way it rolls? There are some tracks there, but it's much easier to get rid of the tracks. I think that is that a flaw? That's actually a flaw in the plate. Never mind. It's obviously been dented with something. All right.
That's totally different.
Yes, it is. See, I've really lessened off the pressure as well. I've reduced the pressure almost to nothing. In fact, do you know, this roller's weird. Eventually it goes on strike and stops rolling. So I get this. The squeaky roller works better. We'll sack that one.
WD-40.
WD-40. Well, this one needs WD-40 as well. That's better. So I've reduced the pressure. I can get it almost perfectly smooth. If I was really bothered, I could smooth it even better than that. So let me get my background colour on. You can do the stenciling that I'm going to do. You can do it straight onto white paper, but But I think one of those was on white paper. One of those that's just on white paper. But I'm going to do this one on coloured paper. Okay, let's pick it up. Whoa, you see how it pulls all that paint? And it didn't happen on the silicone sheet, did it? It left a lot of residue behind. Well, that's pulled off. A much more, well, it's less interesting than the texture you get on the silicone sheet, but it's much more flat. I'm going to cut a new stencil first, because cutting the stencil is quite an interesting thing to do. So I fold a zigzag and cut holes out of it. I don't have to be too precise. You can see how the jelly sheet grabs hold of the paper.
It's like goopy.
So that one that I cut there, that has more folds in it. So I folded it again, but I'm just going to fold it this away. What shapes shall I make? Let's make rectangular ones this time. Can do. So the ink is only going to be able to come through the holes now. I'm going to mask everything else off. So ink, paint, put this green on. Squeaky roller, that's the one that works better. So quite a thin layer, and you can see this green is much more translucent than the yellow was, isn't it? Maybe I need to add a little bit more there. Colour might not be strong enough to show up very well. That might be too much now. Right. Even so, it's still, even though I've put more on it, you can still see through it more than you could see through the yellow. Has the top of your head flipped off yet?
Pardon?
Has the top of your head flipped off yet?
It's on its way.
It's on its way. I advised someone this morning to tie a scarf around her head to keep the top of her head on.
I see. Okay. And because it's wet,
Right,
it sticks.
it's sticking down. That's going on top. So that cut piece is the stencil. This is the print. You can see through the paper, can't you? You can see where the green's going to come through. Let's whip that off.
Oh.
Right, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. When I take this off, we're going to have some pattern left behind, so I can take a ghost print off. I'm not sure whether that ghost print will actually lift, because it's drying. As I'm doing this, the paint is drying. So these rectangular shapes are not as good to work with as that pointy shape I discovered. Right, so let's see if I can take the ghost print off that. And then this might be the first layer of another set of layers. Oh yeah, there is some coming off. There's some, I mean, it's just, yeah, some quite nice subtle effects there. Just put that on. I'm going to do something else before I let you go. Another colour. Oops. The main reason for videoing it is not to get views on YouTube, but it's so that I can share it with you who are going to be doing some printing, and you can see it again. Because it's really, you forget, don't you? You forget what you've seen. Yeah, and for people that are not here, yes, to share with them. And it's very easy to forget when you go to the table, you forget what you've seen done, don't you? Seriously. Yeah. So I'm going to put that back, but the other, instead of going that way, I'm going across this way. Doesn't matter, it's a bit torn and a bit wonky now. I'm going to bring this back. Right, so I get, how many layers is that? This is the third layer, I think, isn't it? So the third layer. Look at those mixtures.
It It does look fabric.
It does look very fabricy, doesn't it, this one? There we go.
It's very nice.
That is, yeah, once you get that third layer, you start to see really interesting things happen. And then, of course, what I've got left behind is more gunk. But what I'm going to do is let it dry on the plate, because I can remove that. When it's dry, I can roll it up with some white and pull another print.